Everybody, what's up? It's LK, the God of the Fire Squad. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. One, it's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer, just like me. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many, many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Gang. Hey, you know I've been recording this whole time.
Stop it.
This is good content.
This is great content.
Tonight.
All right. Also, we have a special guest back for the second time. She was with us on the coveted episode of Smoke and Fire, where we were talking about a lot of egregious stuff and giving our opinions on parenthood. Whitney.
Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I was choking on chicken wings.
Oh. Oh man.
That's
the intro.
That's the intro. All right.
All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us on a new episode of the Nerds Who Ride Jays. I'm your host, LK the God, the deity, the mogul. I'm here with my faithful, trusted, and second command in the Fire Squad, C Jizzle, aka Puffco Poppy. What we puffing on today? Or what have we been puffing on, man?
It's been a minute, man. I got some San Fernando Peel from Evermore. Shout out to Evermore. Had a nice road visit with them, you know what I'm saying? They doing their thing out of Baltimore. They're making the best rosin in the game right now. Shout out to them.
All right, shouts to them. And shout to the Jova gang. Every day we have low prices and good deals.
You got your medical card, come see me, man.
Yes, and if you need a bud tender, just say, I need to see Puffco Poppy. He'll show you everything you need, and he'll help you pick the right thing for whatever's ailing you for your medicinal purposes. Puffco Poppy, Jova. All right, let's get started. Now, we have some announcements from DC. We finally have a direction. It looks like we have a map. It's not quite like Kevin Feige. He didn't really have like a big presentation and a timeline for everyone to see, like, oh, this is this phase and this is that phase. But he kind of called it Gods and Monsters, you know. And he did like a little video, whatever, and he sent it out. But as you may have heard, we have a new Swamp Thing property. I think it's a movie.
Yeah, it's a movie.
It's a movie. Okay. Thoughts on that?
I'm a big Swamp Thing fan, so that's one of the ones I was more excited about, especially with the tone, the horror of it. James Gunn shown that he could be trusted, you know, at least for a tone, and the stuff that he has touched for DC has been gold. You know, the Suicide Squad and Peacemaker, shit like that. So I'm excited, so I'm just gonna wait and see approach. But the slate Gods and Monsters, that's kind of cool. It seems like it's just mostly projects Gunn himself is excited about, which I think is a good thing, because he's gonna have the passion behind these projects to make sure that they're not fucked up. It seems like he actually gives a shit about, some of these obscure properties like The Authority and shit like that. Like some of these are really obscure stuff that he even said, these are just some personal shits, that I love. Like same thing with the Batman announcement that we're going to get to, that his favorite Robin is going to be Robin.
You're jumping around. I want to get to all these because I really, really want to know how you feel about them. But you mentioned The Authority. That's a movie. Can you please tell us about The Authority?
I mean, I don't even know much about The Authority in the comics, like so passing. Like they're kind of like a really dark, fucked up kind of answer to like the Justice League if they were run by the government, just to do what needs to be done and not just the fancy, sexy superhero stuff. So I'm all down for some weird, dark shit. Like I'm with it. Like James Gunn is definitely the person who could deliver the tone for that.
Do you think this will run into the boys' territory?
No, but it could definitely hit, maybe scratch that same itch for some people without being, The Boys itself. Because despite how good The Boys show is, the comic book is fucking terrible. And even though it has like a premise that's kind of fun, but like the show has really elevated that material. So, they haven't cornered the market on dark superhero shit. So, and the Authority preceded The Boys, and so the Authority has a much stronger comic, background than The Boys, even though I'm not as familiar personally with it. I know some people that are who are bigger DC stans than me.
All right, you already mentioned Batman: Brave and the Bold. New Batman. James Gunn handpicks his own Batman,
but there will also still be Robert Pattinson Batman, correct?
Yeah, this Elseworlds. They call it Elseworlds.
Yeah, they're still doing Elseworlds.
But yeah, and he's doing Damian Wayne. How do we feel about that?
I think it's time. Like I said, Damian's been a fixture in the comics. I think he's popular enough. I think he's an interesting enough character when handled, with the right writer. That I think it's time for, the mainstream audience to really be introduced to Damian. They've already really introduced him in the animated movies, in the late last decade. He was really a staple of those before they rebooted it in that awesome super dark Justice League dark jump, Apocalypse War jump. But yeah, so the average person, it'd be cool for them to see that dynamic of Batman and his murderous ninja son. And I was a huge fan of Damian's debut, but that's when Dick Grayson was Batman when Damian became Robin initially. So that was awesome.
That's a question I had. That's the question I was about to ask you. I've heard people talk about it, and it's like in the timeline of Batman, Damian Wayne is like later, like he's the later Robin. After like Red Hood was the fourth one. Like, so they have to, do you think they have to make all of that canon? Like, okay, we're on the fourth Robin, so we're going to start here. You know what I'm saying?
I think it makes more sense if you start canon because you don't have to introduce those Robins initially. You can just be like, they all left to do their own thing eventually. You could say, we know what happened to the second Robin, got beat to death, became Red Hood. Dick Grayson's doing his thing as Nightwing. And then Tim could be off with the Titans or something, or Young Justice or doing whatever. Tim could be doing his own thing. So all those Robins have moved on to be able, kind of do their own thing. And you can just explain, they've moved on and like he needs a Robin and just do the storyline. Like I think it would be cool if they did a Dick Grayson was Batman thing since we already have a beginner Batman. So it's just going to be interesting how they handle it. But I'm really cool. I think done well. It could be a good time for Damian. I like Damian Wayne as a character more than I feel like some people do. But again, he's got to be written with the right writer. And I really like the dichotomy between him and Dick as Batman because Dick Grayson has a much different personality than Bruce Wayne. I think it was a nice switch up to have like a lighter Batman and a more serious Robin. It's kind of the reverse of what you're used to with the Robin's more lighthearted kid-like. But this is the opposite where Dick Grayson's like the well-adjusted, healthy version of what Batman should have been. It's like, I'm not gonna, I'm gonna help people, but I'm not gonna just be on this I am the night brooding bullshit, like I'm just gonna be a hero.
Right.
So yeah, it could be cool. I would love to see how they handle it, but I'm down. Especially again, since James Gunn, seems to personally be really invested in Damian as a character.
So speaking of James Gunn, he's really invested in a new Superman. His own Superman
seems to be his big thing that he's directing that movie.
He's writing it too.
He's writing it, directing it. Yeah.
I kind of want to see what it looks like. I at least want to see it. I want to see a good Superman movie.
I do too, man. Superman does have potential, as much as he's not really my favorite character, never really has been. But a well-written Superman story can be very, very good, like All-Star Superman and things like that. You really got to explore it. And I like the gods and monsters thing because you have to explore that Superman is just a god, to the power level of humans and what's going on in DC. So it should be very interesting to see how they handle it. Gods and Monsters, a great Justice League movie as well, animated jump. But yeah, I'm excited to see what happens with Superman. It's about time for a reboot. I was never a huge fan of the Henry Cavill Superman. I don't get the outcry of like why people are so attached to him as Superman.
I guess
he didn't have not one good movie. Not one good movie.
A good jawline, and he was statuesque. That's how they liked it. The other side of Superman, we have Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. I hear
excited about that
comic.
Yeah, it's the best Supergirl comic that I've ever read. The Woman of Tomorrow. It's beautiful. It's that's probably the one I was most excited about, where it's like, okay, they're hitting the weird books that I like, and that it really paints the difference between Kara and and Kal-El, where she's the savior. He was born in Kansas, where she was born on a hell rock that was dying, and all her friends are dying, and her situation was so much different than Clark's. And then she was supposed to be the one to save Clark, but then she gets there because of the time dilation and all that bullshit. Clark's already been a hero. She's not needed, and she's just there like, I did all this, and this nigga's fine. Like, goddamn. And like she he heard about Krypton blowing up, but she had to experience it. And it's basically a story about that.
Yeah, I'm excited for it because I want to see a Supergirl-led property, especially because this is, like you said, this is like a good one.
And also, what I really like what they're doing, and this is a whole for these properties as well, they're promoting the comic books that they're inspired by early. And I think that's great for the comic industry and the creators to be like, this is what inspired these movies that we're making. Go ahead, before it even comes out, go ahead and read these bitches now. And I think that's cool that James Gunn's like not beating around the bush. Is like, this is what inspired this idea. Read these specific comics, like boom. So if you go on his Twitter, he actually drops something where he's like, this is a good reading list. If you're excited about our announcements, this is a good way to start. And I think that's excellent for the industry. I think Marvel does a bad job of synergy with their movies and comics. Sometimes it's a lot forced and corporate. So to see a more natural synergy would be cool. So listen, I'm rooting for DC, man. They got a chance.
Also, we have Paradise Lost, Wonder Woman.
Don't know how I feel about that. It sounds like a Gotham ass situation where it's like, I didn't hear about Wonder Woman being in the show. It just sounds like the politics of Paradise Island.
I think it's like young Wonder Woman.
Yeah, it just sounds like the politics and maybe origin of how the politics of Paradise Island became. So it's like, that's cool. Yeah. Give me Game of Thrones-esque anything. That's how they market it. It's like a Game of Thrones-esque kind of.
And that's how they market it, right?
Yeah,
Game
so it's like, sure, man, I'm down for that.
Like, you can't just throw Thrones on stuff and be like, oh, it's going to be. Thrones is a good show, like top tier show. We have the Lanterns. The Lanterns finally hit live action.
Buddy cop lantern movie, show, right? Show.
Yeah, show. Yep.
That's
I'm
cool.
excited.
Yeah, if you give me the Hal Jordan, John Stewart, buddy cop, I'm with it. They said there'll be some other Lanterns appearing, but it's mainly about those two. They said they're handling something terrestrial, if I remember correctly. Yeah. So it's going to be something on Earth and it's going to open up, a mystery that is for the greater DC multiverse. So I'm more excited about that the Green Lantern is going to be opening up bigger lore for the bigger universe. So something they're going to, open up the door for that. But I'm down for it. Let me see some casting. I like Green Lantern stuff a lot, and I feel like
casting is important for this one.
Yeah, give me a good John Stewart, man.
Speaking of casting, I want to see who they cast as Booster Gold because we got Booster Gold.
Yeah, Booster Gold. So that could be good too, man. Booster Gold's an interesting character. You could do something interesting with that show.
Like, just do Deadpool. Just do Deadpool.
Not even just that. That was one of the better episodes of Justice League Unlimited. If people remember that Booster Gold episode, that's where I first got introduced to the character as a kid. I didn't know shit about Booster Gold until that episode of Justice League Unlimited. Matter of fact, that's how I got introduced to a lot of the more obscure characters in DC. So shout out to Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. Those shows are goats here.
Batman Brave and the Bold did this for me too. Yeah, I mean, they're animated shows.
Yeah, it's a little goofy, kiddie one, but it's still cool. Yeah, there's a lot of deep cuts and references and stuff like that. But yeah, shout out to that because I wouldn't know any of these really, really obscure DC characters without that show. That show really cultivated my love.
Speaking of obscure DC characters, Creature Commandos.
Obscure as fuck, yes.
Obscure as fuck. And it's based off of a comic, I understand, right?
I've never read that shit, so I ain't gonna lie to you.
Also,
I've heard of it, but that's the extent of it, man.
We have the Amanda Waller TV show. I guess like a continuation.
A Peacemaker, it looks like.
Yeah. That's why we don't get Peacemaker season 2. This might be the surrogate for it.
Yeah, it's gonna spin into a bigger show.
They're actually shitting out the Flash movie. It's coming out.
The early screenings keep saying it's good. People keep saying everyone who's seen it that it's good, which is amazing to me. We're like, how? How is this movie? I don't know. Good?
They did a lot of doctoring, I guess.
I hope it's good. I love the Flash. He's literally one of my favorite superheroes. So it's like, I hope, but man, that shit was a mess behind, man. They got Ezra Miller wilding out during production, man. I don't know.
Is
Man.
he going to stay after this? I don't know.
No, they're definitely rebooting. I think they're definitely just going to flashpoint this at the end of the movie and be like, here's your new DC universe.
Get him the fuck out of here, bro.
You'll never see Ezra Miller again.
We also have the Aquaman movie that's supposed to come out.
I completely forgot about it, and I still have no.
Still coming out. Yeah, still coming out. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if
it seems like that was just already shot, and they just got to get that shit out the way.
Hey, you still got to drop it. Yeah. And last but not least, we have Blue Beetle.
I forgot about Blue Beetle. So I like the Jaime Reyes Blue Beetle. If the effects are on point, if they really get into, I think the storyline that they did in Young Justice was pretty cool with the reach and stuff like that. They could do something like that. That would be cool. Some Blue Beetle shit.
So out of this list, what are you the most excited for?
Swamp Thing,
TV or show?
Supergirl.
Yeah, okay. Swamp Thing, Supergirl. Okay. Then say Batman or Superman. That's crazy.
Well, then Superman after that, probably. Because like I said, the James Gunn Superman reboot is very interesting to me. But Superman is just not my favorite character, man. He's just never been.
We might have Superman and Batman fatigue right now, bro.
I love Batman. We just got a good Batman movie. So it's just like, I'm always good for Batman shit, but there's other characters in DC that need some shine, man.
I am most excited for, I gotta say Waller, man, because James Gunn really did something with the Peacemaker show to me. And I want to see a good Superman movie. Like, just do Superman good. I don't know what that means, but in James Gunn's hands, I might be there for it. I might be there with my popcorn and my 2 ices. What I'm least excited for, I'm probably not going to watch The Flash. I mean, not The Flash, but Aquaman.
Yeah, I might skip that one. Yeah, I might be with you on that, dog.
Yeah.
If that trailer don't hit, then
All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us on a new episode of the Nerds Who Ride Chase. I'm your host, LK the God, the deity, the mogul. I'm here with my faithful, trusted, and second command in the Fire Squad, C Jizzle, aka Puffco Poppy. What we puffing on today? Or what have we been puffing on, man?
It's been a minute, man. I got some San Fernando Peel from Evermore. Shout out to Evermore. Had a nice bro visit with them, you know what I'm saying? They donate thing out Baltimore. They're making the best rosin in the game right now. Shout out to them.
All right, shouts to them. And shouts to the Jova gang. Every day we have low prices and good deals.
You got your medical card, come see me, man.
Yes, and if you need a bud tender, just say, I need to see Puffco Poppy. He'll show you everything you need, and he'll help you pick the right thing for whatever's ailing you. FSOD, burn up.
FSOD. FSOD.